Everyone, thank you for joining us tonight for Mariano's Meetups. It's Tastemaker Tuesday with our tastemaker, Todd Stein. And we also have our wine friend here, TJ Brickley from Gallo, and he's always picks us the best stuff. So and I love this wine in particular. But at Mariano's, we decided to launch this online platform for us all to get together during this crucial time of social distancing and sheltering in place. Sarah, who's my co-pilot tonight for Mariano's, runs all the events in store. So this is a fun, a big pivot for us with everything going on in the world, but it's also very fun. So we're glad that we can learn more cooking tips from Todd and wine tips from TJ. We're very excited about that. So for the wine portion of tonight, you must be 21 and over. There's a chat button in the middle of the screen. We welcome questions. TJ loves questions, Todd loves questions, Sarah loves Mariano's questions. We're happy to answer anything that you guys have, but be nice because this is a positive place where we all can get together. And if you're not nice, you're gonna get booted from the Zoom, but we know that won't happen tonight because everyone here is so great. I think those are all the rules. I'm just gonna get started quick before I introduce Todd and TJ. I do have pantry pick, and because Todd and TJ are actually really good friends of all of ours, and we always swap cooking tips and wine. We have a lot of wine questions, and I do love artichokes, and I'm so happy that Todd picked that tonight. Todd is the chef of Formentos and the Bristol and Nona's, and we can't wait for his restaurants to reopen so we can go there. It was a family favorite place. But for the artichokes, and probably for the pasta too, a big ingredient is olive oil. So one of my favorites, and this is more of my everyday one, is California olive oil. There's all kinds of different blends. I have like 3 of them, but for the artichokes tonight, I picked the Miller's Blend, which is bold and peppery because I like the artichokes once we cook them to have a ton of flavor. So when Todd shows us how to make the breading, this is what I would put in there. And then to finish the artichokes, I was lucky enough before the pandemic to visit Italy. I went to Tuscany and I met this incredible olive oil maker named Alberto Giacchi. And we sell 3 of his olive oils. And this one is the Dolciolio. And this is what I love to put on salads. And this is also what I love to, I actually drizzled this on top of the artichokes before I sent them to cook. But he's a wonderful person and it was nice to be able to meet him, and this is a great product. So now without any further ado, TJ is going to talk us through the wine, and then Chef Todd Stein is going to show us how to make asparagus carbonara and delicious artichokes. So I'll let you guys take it away.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me back. I actually just saw in the chat that somebody was having trouble finding the wine, and I wanted to apologize for that. First of all, all Mariano's are authorized to bring this in. So if you just ask the wine steward, they will have it available and they will bring it in for you. So if you weren't able to get it tonight, very sorry about that. Next time we'll make sure that it has its distribution is far and wide in Mariano's so everybody can participate. And the reason why we chose tonight's wine is because this is called Talbott Kali Hart Chardonnay. It's an estate grown Chardonnay. And the reason why we wanted to showcase this tonight is because it pairs so well with Chef's dish. It's light, it's bright, it's crisp, and it's refreshing, and it's got a great backstory behind it. Talbot is actually the name of Robert Talbot. Robert Talbot actually got his start by creating, he was in men's garment business. He would make suits and shirts and ties, and they were really expensive. We're talking $300 for a shirt, $1,000 for a suit, and he would take his family over to Italy, to France, to Spain to search for materials in order to make his to make his garments with. And he was actually from Monterey, California. And while he was taking his family over to Europe to look for these materials for his high-end clothing, he actually fell in love with food and wine, and he would tour different vineyards, and he found out that, you know what, I love clothes, but I think wine is actually where my passion is. And when he came back to Monterey with his family, he actually he bought a plot of land that was actually just named a Grand Cru vineyard called Sleepy Hollow Vineyard. And that's a vineyard that is one of the most world-renowned vineyards for growing Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. And that's what you're drinking today. So it's in Monterey, which is about 120 miles south of Napa Valley. And this area is perfect for growing Pinot Noir and Chardonnay because it's so close to the coast. You're talking about 5 or 10 miles off the coast. And it gets this incredible maritime influence. So this fog that kind of rolls in off of the coast and then settles over the grapes. And then it gives the Chardonnay and Pinot Noir perfect amount of fog influence that allows the grapes to kind of rejuvenate overnight. The sun comes in around 11 in the morning and then burns off around 11 o'clock in the morning. So when you're out there, you can feel the fog kind of burning off in Monterey, and you can really get a feel for what it is that the fog influence does for these grapes. And what that does is it allows a lot of hang time. So these grapes have a very long growing season and gives them a lot of time to develop flavors on the vines. So when you try this wine, it's going to have very robust, bursting flavors of citrus, of melon, of green apple, and it actually kisses French oak for about 8 months. And the interesting thing about this is that this is actually an estate grown wine. So all of the fruit that is sourced in this bottle of wine was grown on the estate of Talbot Vineyards. The reason it's called Kali Hart is because Kaleigh is actually the name of Robert's daughter. So each one of his kids got their own tier of wine and got to pick their own colors, their own crest. And one of the things that I love most about this is that it's actually a screw top label. So it's nice and easy access when you need to, when you just need to get in there and open up a bottle of wine. But the reason why he actually uses the screw top is because he's trying to preserve the freshest wine possible. So the wine that is actually going into the bottle that he's making that day, when you use the screw top actually preserves the wine. So the wine that's going into the bottle tastes the same exact as the wine that when it originally was made. Whereas when you have a corked bottle of wine, a little bit of oxygen gets in, and that flavor profile of that wine is going to change as time goes on. So the idea of the screw cap, which is actually becoming a very popular trend in wine, is due to trying to just preserve freshness in the wine. We have a new winemaker. His name is David Coventry. He grew up, born and raised in Monterey, California. When he became our winemaker about 5 years ago, he was given carte blanche to do whatever he wanted in the vineyard. And he has really spared no expense and is producing phenomenal wines. This wine was just released. It's the 2018 vintage and just received 92 points from Robert Parker, which is a great score for around $20. So this is a great wine to go with light pastas, grilled chickens, fish, and it's Amanda, you said it before. This is one of your favorite wines that we've poured. This by far is one of my absolute favorite bottles of Chardonnay for spring, summer, and to pair with food. And you can find it at Mariano's. If it isn't there, yeah, hopefully. If it isn't there, you can ask the wine steward because they are authorized to bring this in. And there's also a Pinot Noir as well that is at Mariano's as well, if you're more of a red fan. So fantastic producer. Like I said, this was named a Grand Cru vineyard, one of 9 vineyards in California that was designated as Grand Cru. Grand Cru vineyard means in a good year, in a good year, you make great wine. In a bad year of winemaking, you're still making very good wine. It's just a vineyard that always produces great wine year in and year out. And we're very lucky to have this in our portfolio. So thank you very much. I think this is going to pair very well. So I hope you guys are able to pick up a bottle and sip along with Todd as he goes through his recipe. Hope you're able to learn a little something about Talbot and enjoy. And Todd, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody that's here tonight. And if you've watched my last class, thank you for coming back. And obviously, thank you to Mariano's for allowing this whole thing to occur, and Amanda and Sarah and everybody at Mariano's for putting this all together. It's amazing what you can do with a computer and some lights instead of having a full production studio.
You actually have a very fancy light. It would be fun if we could see what it looks like later, because I was like, oh, I might need to get that.
I have a lighting technician in the house that helps set this up, and it's just the way the lighting works in our house. We need a little added bonus so you can see what we're doing. So 2 dishes we're going to make tonight. One highlighting artichokes. Amanda and I have a common love in artichokes that actually goes back a long time ago, way back. Long time ago, I lived in Atlanta, and this is funny. This popped up the other day. I posted a picture of grilled artichokes over 8 years ago, and Amanda made a comment about it. And then when at Fermentos, I have artichokes on the menu, and Amanda and her family comes and they eat them all the time because they love them, and so on and so forth. And then here we are doing a class that has artichokes in it. So artichokes are a wonderful thing. This is this beautiful artichoke that was delivered to my house, among some other ones. They're beautiful globe artichokes. If you ever go into a Mariano's and you see these artichokes and they have a sticker on them, and the sticker says Ocean Mist, that's the farmer, the producer of these artichokes. Always buy Ocean Mist if you can. They're an exceptional artichoke. Artichokes can be a lot of work, and for what you get in return, but it's worth every minute of cleaning and cutting yourself and cooking and everything that goes along with it. And they're also really hard to pair with wines because they're so acidic. And I think this wine that TJ chose is going to be absolutely perfect for it. So I've had artichokes a million different ways in my life, whether they're grilled, whether they're stuffed and roasted, whether they're just boiled or steamed and served with butter or mayonnaise, or we do it like this combo stuffed dish at Fermentos where we steam them first and then we finish them on the grill so they get nice and smoky, and then we add breadcrumbs and herbs and things like that at the end as a garnish. So I'm going to show you really quickly how to clean this and then get it ready for stuffing, and then I'll stuff it and we'll put it in the oven. And I already have some going so we can see very shortly what they look like when they're done. I think Amanda has some going too behind her in a really cool artichoke shaped pot, which I'm to be honest, if you can see it right there. So when you get this artichoke, sometimes it'll have a really long stem or a short stem. It has leaves at the bottom. You want to take the leaves off the very bottom just to start with, because they're going to get in your way because you're going to cut the stem. And then when you cook them, they're going to just fall off. So you kind of want to just get rid of them, which is what we're doing right now. And then you have this beautiful top and this artichoke. And you want to get inside because you're going to stuff it. Now, if you were just going to boil it or steam it, or you could leave it like this, or you could cut it in half and clean it. The variety of ways to deal with this. But for this, we're going to cut off a little bit of the top, and then I'm going to trim it, and I'll show you that really quickly. It's what I like to use to cut artichokes is a serrated bread knife. If you have an electric knife, which is one of my favorite tools, have at it, use that, a little power tool right through the artichoke, whatever works. But bread knives are the best for artichokes. So I'll show you. I'm just going to cut a little bit off the top. And what you're left with is this cut part right here, and you want to get to the choke. But we're going to get to that with a spoon. So the best way is to just get a spoon in there and clean it out. And then what happens is you're left with something that looks like this. Completely cleaned out, got all the heart out of, or all the choke out of the heart, which is that fuzzy part that you don't want to eat, and those little purple leaves inside. Now, if you don't have the time to wait to cook these for a long time, or to clean them and cook them, what you can do this ahead. You can actually steam or boil them for 10 minutes. I didn't have that in the recipe, but this is like a new little hack for you. And have them like this, and they can sit in your fridge for a few days before you actually do this dish. So that's like an added bonus kind of thing. So anyways, we have this beautiful cleaned out artichoke. I've cleaned the choke, I've cleaned the purple leaves. This thing is ready to go. So I'm gonna build the stuffing now and show you that. And then we can put it in the oven and bake it. But first, we'll make the stuffing. So these are the breadcrumbs that I've talked about in the recipe. These are Panko breadcrumbs. Of course, if you can't find Japanese breadcrumbs, these are actually cut with electricity, which is bizarre. That's how they cut these breadcrumbs. So they're really, they crisp up really well. So I've already toasted these, and they're ready to go. They're toasted in a pan with a little bit of olive oil. And then to that, I have all the ingredients. I like to put everything together so you guys can see it. I have the garlic, I have the oregano. I was unable to get fresh oregano, so you can use dried, which is fine. You can always substitute things. Obviously, with the way grocery stores are right now, and some things are hard to find, thank God we're not cooking with toilet paper, you can substitute. So we have the Parmesan, the dried oregano, the garlic, the lemon zest, and chopped parsley.
So Todd, in my family recipe, we never added the lemon zest. And I have to say that mine are actually pretty close to being done, but the lemon zest adds such a pop of flavor. Like it really brings out the flavor of the artichoke. It's awesome. Because I know you probably like put lemon juice on the artichokes also.
Right, yeah. And when you know, there's this thing, do I have to boil them with lemon juice? Do I have to rub lemon juice? If you go quick enough in the process, you don't have to do anything with the lemon. But if you're taking your time, squeeze a lemon on top of the artichoke so it won't oxidize, because they tend to do that. I did both the lemon zest and the garlic with a microplane. Everybody should have one of these now. These are really easy to find. That way you don't have to sit there and dice garlic or mince it. You just use this. It works perfectly. I love this. All right, so.
Todd, purple leaves. Do people discard the purple leaves?
Yes, I toss the purple leaves.
Okay.
So I'm going to just put this all in here and then add some olive oil to it. I think it calls for half a cup in the recipe. Because what happens is the olive oil just makes this nice and moistens it all up, so it's easier for your fingers to stuff it into the artichoke. Mix, mix, mix.
I kind of feel like when you add olive oil to that mixture, it kind of reminds me of making like a pie crust where you like put the butter in.
Yeah, I agree with that. So now you have this mixture and you have this artichoke. How do you get it together? So I like to do it on something that, like, not on the baking dish or not on my counter. So you can use a sheet tray, a cookie sheet, a plate. I have this metal sizzle plate. I'm just going to do this real quick like this. But anything so you don't make a mess. If you want to do it on your counter and you have parchment paper, just put parchment paper down on the counter. That's a great thing to do. And then you have an easy cleanup. So bear with me for 1 second, and then I'll show you the finished product. I like to use a spoon to get it in the center, in the heart, because it just goes quicker. And then what you want to do, I'll show you this. You could stop here, right? You could stop right here with the heart, but why would you do that? You can put more garlic breadcrumbs right in all these leaves. That's the best part. And you took the time to make them. So you just like open them up, like spread them apart. You can use your fingers or a spoon, and you just jam this breadcrumb mixture in there. It's like the easiest thing. Is this how you do yours, Amanda?
I'm not as, like, I definitely like manhandle it, and I mean, I do it over a bowl, but we use the same mixture except for the lemon zest, and I do like to get it in every leaf because that's like the treat of eating every single leaf. Is you want that. Oh my god, I'm like drooling as I'm talking about it. You
it's
really
like the bonus of all the work.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So this is pretty much a finished stuffed artichoke. Let me back up here and raise that up. Can you see that?
Gorgeous.
Right? Stuffed, ready to go. So I already have the baking dish with the boiling water, the garlic and the bay leaf set and ready to go. I'm going to cover it with, this is just a great Pyrex glass dish. You can use a pot, a fun artichoke pot like Amanda's. When the ones that I have in the oven come out, you'll see it's just a lovely baking dish. So you just literally wrap this in foil. And have your preheated 400-degree oven, and you pop it in. So
Todd, this is where you and I are different. Like we do the same method of like stuffing it. You do a nicer job of cleaning it. But I do mine on the stovetop. I bring it to a boil and then lower it to simmer and then put a lid on it. And I want to say it takes 30 to 40 minutes. And then I'll actually like baste it with some of like and I put it in there with, I fill it up so the artichoke's halfway, of water, lemon, olive oil, like sometimes wine. I wanted to enjoy the Talbot, so I didn't put it in there this time. And then I might baste it like halfway through so you get more of that flavor like inside.
Absolutely. That's a way to do it. I know people that will take the artichoke when it's done and run it under the broiler real quick. You can do that just to brown the top of it. It's funny. It's like everybody has their way of making these, although they're slightly similar. I've never done it in a pot on the stove. I like to do it in the oven for even cooking, but that's just me. That's the way I learn.
Yeah, mine definitely get like a little, as my mom would say, like they get like mush, like they definitely open, and it's but they do get a little crispness. Cool artichoke
pot to use.
What?
If I had a cool artichoke pot to use, then maybe I would do it. But no, all kidding aside. So I totally forgot. I got to back up a second. What I totally forgot about at the very beginning of all of this is artichokes and asparagus are the two base ingredients of these dishes for a very good reason. Even though some of us haven't been outside much, it is spring. And these things are really abundant. Although somebody had a hard time finding asparagus at a Mariano's, which is, I find that hard to believe. So you got to talk to the asparagus steward there and they will get them for you. But it's spring, and you should have these things, and you should enjoy. Yes, you can get artichokes all year long, and yes, you can get asparagus all year long, but the ones that you get between now and June most likely are from the United States. Not that other countries grow bad stuff, but it's not a local thing. It's really, truly in season right now. And they're grown here in California, and they're grown here in Florida, and they're wonderful things, and you should enjoy them. And in my childhood, we had asparagus and artichokes in the spring. So that's why I wanted to highlight those things. The pasta dish that we're going to do a play on carbonara. Carbonara is a dish that's very dear and true to my heart. It first showed up on a menu of mine in 2010 at a restaurant that's no longer here called Cibo Matto, which is at the Witt Hotel. And that's where I had this thing about carbonara. Nobody was really cooking it. Carbonara was like the cacio e pepe of now. Nobody was really cooking it then. And it became a very popular dish soon after. As a kid growing up here in the Chicagoland area, I would go to Dave's Italian Kitchen in Evanston, which was a great restaurant, and I would order carbonara because I thought it was cool. It had bacon and cheese and such in it, and it really wasn't what carbonara is. It had bacon and peas never go anywhere near carbonara, traditional carbonara. And so when I started cooking Italian food, I wanted really to highlight carbonara and show it off. So the dish that I've done for a long time, which is unfortunately not this dish tonight, is bucatini carbonara. Bucatini is a very long noodle with a hole in the center that goes all the way through it like a tube. Pancetta, which in all my restaurants we make by ourselves, we make in house. Cracked pepper, Parmesan pecorino, butter, a little bit of butter, and then we gild the lily with an egg yolk on top. So when the dish comes to the table, you can mix the egg in, and which helps create the sauce, and you can do it yourself. Tonight we're going to highlight it with asparagus. I
have a question. How do you make your own pancetta? How do you do that?
We just go, woo! No. So we buy pork bellies, and then we have a cure for them. And what I mean by a cure, it's a salt, sugar, and seasoning rub that we rub into these bellies. And then we let them sit for about a week and retain the cure, kind of like if you were making bacon. But then we don't smoke it. Then we hang them for another week to 2 weeks, depending, in a temperature-controlled environment, temperature and humidity-controlled environment that allows them to almost dry out a little bit, is basically what happens. And they're cooked at that point, although they're not crispy, but it's like bacon. Bacon is cured and then smoked, and then you could eat bacon right out of a package and not get sick because it's cured and smoked. So we're doing the curing and then not doing the smoking is basically what it is. And then you dice it up or slice it and cook it, and it gets crispy. So you got this really beautiful pork. Traditionally, the dish is made with guanciale, which is from the cheek of the pig. But in a large restaurant setting, to continually do that, we would never stop making it just because of the size of a pork cheek as opposed to a pork belly. And I think it's equally as good. And you can buy pancetta at Mariano's, of course, in a variety of different producers. I know you guys sell La Quercia, which is made in Iowa, which is one of the best American-made pancettas. That one's very good. You have it already diced? Yeah, it's already diced. Don't even have to cut.
It's like a green. It's so easy.
Yeah, I like that one a lot too. There's a lot of different varieties, but you can buy pancetta. Like if you were to make it at home, it's a serious process. But if anybody wants to know how to make it, hit me up and I'll walk you through it. It's very easy. So anyways, tonight we're not doing that. We're highlighting the vegetable. We're highlighting asparagus, and we're going to mix the sauce in. So it's a little different. You can use a long noodle. You can use a short noodle. There's nothing traditional about anything that you have to do at home unless it's the way you grew up or the way you like it or whatever. Bucatini is a great noodle, but I wanted to do something a little different since I'm mixing the sauce into it. I wanted something that would catch the sauce and hold the asparagus at the same time. So tonight we're using rotini, which is kind of like fusilli. I don't know if you can see it, it's kind of small, but it's shorter and it's corkscrew and spirals. So the sauce gets stuck inside the pasta, which is what I really love. I like, pasta. I have this thing about pizza and pasta. Everything should be a condiment to the pasta, and pasta shapes hold sauces very differently. So you wouldn't necessarily use certain sauces with certain pasta shapes. But do as you please, because it's your dish. So we're gonna use rotini. Rigatoni would be great. We did a rigatoni and meatballs last time, but rigatoni would be a great shape. Penne would be a great shape. If you want to get into a long noodle, obviously bucatini, spaghetti, even linguine or fettuccine are fine. Linguine is a little fine, but you know, it's up to you.
Todd, one question is because they might be making it right now. How long do the artichokes cook for, and at what temperature?
So I'm at 400 degrees. It says so right here in my oven. 400 degrees. If you blanch them ahead, it's probably about 35 minutes. If you cook them just straight from raw in the oven, especially with the size that these were, it's probably close to 45 minutes to an hour. Now, the crazy thing about recipes is everybody opens a book or goes on the internet, they find a recipe, and that's like the written rule. It's not always the written rule. A recipe is a guideline. And the more you cook, people are like, how do you do this? It's because I've done it for a long time. The more you cook, the more you learn, the more you understand. A large artichoke takes a longer time to cook than a smaller artichoke. So it's a lot of trial and error and a lot of mess ups and a lot of, mishaps. So what I like to do with the artichoke is if I think it's close to ready in my mind, I'm going to take it out of the oven and I'm going to either use a paring knife or a cake tester and get right in the center of the heart. And if the knife goes through easily, it's done. If it has div and you can feel that heart is still hard, let it go a little longer. Check it in 5 or 10 more minutes. Everything's really like a method more than a recipe.
And then another question is from Barbara Lieberman, like what should you look for when shopping for artichokes and asparagus if they want to make the dish within a few days?
Okay, so I'm going to come back to this artichoke even though I already cut it. This artichoke was beautiful round. It was very compact and tight, and it didn't have a lot of blemish on the outside, which means it got to the store pretty recently. So artichokes, when they come to your grocery stores or to a restaurant, they come in a cardboard box. They come by size. It's either 18, 24, or 36. And what that means is how many per case. This is an 18 count artichoke. It's very large. So that means there were only 18 of these in the box. But I like a large artichoke, so I'm glad that we got large ones. Then there's tiny little baby ones that you can use for a variety of other applications. But you want to look for nice, bright green, just like the asparagus. And then you want to look for very little blemish, tight leaves, not broken. Stem, if you're going to do different application with it than this, and a long stem, like you're going to grill it, long stem's great. But just, look for nice coloring and that, it's compact as hell. It was really hard to stuff the other ones earlier, right? So that's what I look for. Asparagus.
I had a hard time because it was so compact, but like once you work with it, that's what we're joking about. Like they're a lot of work in a good way. You have to trim them the right way. You have to make sure you're handling them the right way. I joked with Todd earlier because we were talking about artichokes. Like our family loved them so much. It was like instant gratification. Like we wanted it done like quick, like let's get them in there. I don't even think my grandmother like trimmed them. Like I love trimming the tops to make them more,
Did you eat them only in spring and summer when you were a kid or all year?
We ate them all the times. But and that's another thing I wanted to ask you. So when are they in season? Because right now it is like season
right now from the United States. They're on my menu at Fermentos. You could have them all year long. They're at their best right now, which also means when they're at peak season, generally they're at their least expense. Now, obviously, it's different time right now, but generally, like when artichokes get cheap, that's like just constantly buy them, eat them all the time. You can even cook them in a pressure cooker, Instant Pot, any of those things. We should write an artichoke book.
All right, let's do it.
While I wait here, I'm actually going to pull out the artichoke and see. Let's see how done it is. It smells so good in here. If you could only see inside the oven. I think these are done. I have a good feeling.
I see them smoking.
Can you see that?
Yes.
It smells so good. Let's take a little test here. So I'm going to use a big.
They actually take a long time to cook, and they didn't. Mine cooked in since I put them in, like 30 minutes.
Yeah, they're done. So we'll save those for later. But the great thing about this too, these are also very good cold the next day, even with the breadcrumbs like that. Literally take them right out, put them on a plate. How good is that?
So good.
And serve it. I like to drizzle a little olive oil right over the top at the end. You can serve it with a mayonnaise. You can squeeze a lemon over it. A million different things you can do. So we're happy about artichokes. Absolutely. Amanda, do you like asparagus as much or no?
I do love asparagus, but I like really truly love artichokes. Like I love them, but I do love asparagus also.
I love green vegetables, and obviously growing up here in winter, we look forward to spring and green things. Asparagus, artichokes, fava bean, all the green vegetables. It gives you something to look forward to.
What's the round thing? The fiddlehead fern.
Fiddlehead ferns.
I love them. I like those too.
Garlic. It's great actually. Like the stuffed artichoke, garlic and olive oil, and then breadcrumbs over the top on fiddlehead ferns. Delicious. So these are the asparagus. I took the entire bunch and I already blanched them. In the recipe, I said you can blanch them and just put them to the side and while you're making the dish, or you can blanch them a day or two ahead and have them ready to go, which is what I did here. When you blanch in boiling salted water and then you put in ice water when they're done, which stops the cooking, what you're doing is setting the color so they're bright green. So when I put them in the pasta, they don't turn brown and mushy, right? Unless I let it cook forever, but they're bright green. So when I clean the asparagus, I go to the ends, I cut off, depending on the asparagus, about a ½ inch of the bottom because that's really tough and you don't want to eat that. And you can basically just take an asparagus in your hand and crack it, and where it's supposed to snap, it will generally naturally snap off. That's another little hidden trick. Or you can just take a knife to the whole bunch and cut off the bottom portion. And then I cut the tips off, and since they were really big, I split them in half lengthwise, and then cut the stems or the body of it on a long bias. And then I blanched them very quickly in boiling salted water, and then I shocked them. So I did that yesterday, so I have them ready for today. I have a pot of water going for the pasta, which is about to boil. So I'm going to put the pasta in, and then we'll make the sauce. And the great thing about pasta cooking, pizza is very similar. Everything is a condiment. I look at it to the pasta. So you don't want too much of anything. Like if you're eating a hot dog, you don't put the whole bottle of mustard on there. It ruins a hot dog, and you never put ketchup on a hot dog. So you would never do that, but it's a condiment to the pasta. So what we're going to do is we're going to cook this pasta, and then we're going to, in the pan, we're going to make the asparagus and then the sauce. I know you have the recipe, and some of you are following along, but the thing about the eggs is you want to do it at the very end so you don't create an omelet or scrambled egg in your pasta. And I always do it off the flame. You learn the hard way. It's like, why do I have scrambled eggs in my pasta, right? So always follow the instructions on your pasta. This says, rotini number 81, bring 4 to 6 quarts of water to a boil, add salt to taste. Salt to taste is a really big thing. Some people say, well, it should taste like the ocean. Well, some people have never been in the ocean. They don't know what the ocean tastes like. Imagine the bottom of a bag of potato chips, those last 5 or 6 potato chips sitting in the salt, and how salty that is. That's how salty you want your water. You can use kosher salt. You can use iodized salt. I don't use iodized salt for anything but pasta water because it tastes terrible. But if you're boiling it, it melts and you don't taste it. And it's cheap. So you can use that. And then it says, for authentic al dente pasta, boil for 7 minutes, stirring occasionally. For more tender pasta, boil an additional minute. Drain well and serve. Okay, so we're going to pour this in. Generally, a pound of pasta, which almost all pasta is enough for 4 people. 4 to 6 people would be my guess.
Can you show everyone the cut of the asparagus, like how you cut it?
Yeah. Hold on one second. Let me get some more asparagus.
Okay, sorry.
No worries.
We got some questions here.
Fire away.
Well, that was one of them. Also, someone else has a question. Kay Luth has a question about microplanes. Like, which one should they get?
I don't know. I have this green one made by the microplane company, made in the USA. I like this wide one, like this, instead of the long, thin ones. Yeah, that one's good. That's great. That one's good for cheese.
Yeah.
Too. But I like the wider ones just because you have more surface area and it's easy to put over a bowl or a plate like this. Okay. Asparagus. These are 3 lovely asparagus. So like I said, you can either go like this. See, it snaps right off.
Wow.
Or you can cut it. So I'll generally just cut the bottom off of it. Here's this. I look at the tip and where it kind of ends. It's kind of where I cut it, just like that. This one's kind of thin, so I wouldn't cut it in half. But if I had to, like down the middle, I would. And then I literally put my knife on an angle like this and slice, as they call, on the bias. And I'll show you this. I don't know if you can see, but they're kind of on the bias. Well, they are on the bias. But cut them however you want. Like, it's not written in stone that you have to, you know, do it this way.
Aaron wants to know if the inside of the artichoke isn't purple, does that mean it isn't a good artichoke or not ripe?
No, it doesn't mean that at all. It just depends on the growing conditions. Sometimes all those inner leaves are purely white all the way through. So not to worry at all.
I didn't have any purple, I don't think, in mine, really.
2 of mine did, 2 of mine did not.
Barbara wants to know, does it matter if asparagus stems are thick or thin?
If they're thick, you want to cut them thinner. If they're thin, then no.
Peel them? Do you ever peel them?
Yeah, if they're really thick, I'll peel the bottom of it for sure. Especially if I'm grilling them or I want it to look really pretty. But if you're slicing it and putting it in pasta.
Oh, you all should follow Todd on Instagram because he's an excellent griller and like everything he grills looks unbelievable. So, and he gives little tips. So Todd, what's your Instagram? At Chef Todd Stein.
Yeah. We've grilled a lot. Well, actually, we haven't grilled a lot yet because the weather's been terrible. Obviously, during this time, and not working in a restaurant, I'm cooking quite a bit at home. And you can see everything that we've done. I made a highlight the other day in my Instagram of all my favorite dishes from the first month of this, and I'll do another one from the last month. And if you ask a question on Instagram, I always answer. I think it's very important to answer people, so fire away. Okay, so we have the pasta going, we have the asparagus going. I have the egg yolks right here, they're beaten. So, you know, what I do is when I want the egg yolks, I crack the egg, I separate the white from the yolk, I have the whites in there for another purpose, and then I just take a fork and you want to mix it all together. So I'm going to mix the Parmesan cheese into this. When you buy Parmesan cheese, you want to buy the best Parmesan cheese. That's one of the things you don't skimp on. Buy Reggiano Parmesan. They have it at Mariano's. They have it. You can buy the block of it. You can buy it already pre-grated, but always buy Reggiano. The stuff in the green can, not so much. So this egg yolk and this Parmesan mixture is really what helps create the sauce. So I take the egg. You can do this in a mixing bowl. If you're making it for a lot of people in a larger mixing bowl, it's great. I just want to mix this all together so that when I pour it in to the sauce, it's kind of homogeneous. Excellent. Sorry about that.
Todd, a few people, it's so cool. So many people are making the artichokes. I see Jody, I see DLX XYC. I know your name's Nicole now. This is so fun.
I love it.
Yeah.
So it's weird. Like I'd never, and obviously I do this for a living, but like even before I did this for a living, like I couldn't, my brain couldn't comprehend watching and cooking at the same time.
Tessa's doing it. They're like going, I mean, everyone's artichokes look like, they look beautiful.
Because they came from Mariano's and they're oceans.
They do look really great.
There are other grocery stores, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
But yeah, I can't concentrate. I couldn't like watch a cooking show and make the dish at the same time. I have to watch it and cook it. So question, you record these and put them online?
Yep. Yeah, they're going to be recorded. We actually have all of them to date posted on our YouTube. And Sarah can post the link and yours will be posted within the next couple of days.
Yeah, that's so cool. Then you can go back and watch and be like, oh, I missed that part.
Right. Or you can just watch TJ give description of the wine when you want to impress your friends.
Right, and drink them. Absolutely, I love it. So I have the egg yolks together. This is the butter that I've cut. This will help create the sauce. I like grass-fed butter. Obviously, it comes from better cows and such. But I can't see how close I can get. The color of this butter is bright yellow. This is Kerrygold, which is a great brand. You can buy this at your store at Mariano's. I love this butter a lot. I always buy unsalted butter because you don't want the added salt. The only time I buy salted butter and use it is just to saute vegetables. Then I don't have to add salt. But Kerrygold, it's Irish butter. The color of this, it was funny. I did a dish for dinner the other night with scallops, and I made a lemon caper butter sauce. And a friend of mine who's a chef said, oh, dude, your sauce looks broken because butter sauce can break. And I was like, no, it's just the color of the butter. It's bright yellow. It's Kerrygold. But the color of this butter.
SRA Watson has Kerrygold in the house. She was holding it up. Oh,
Nice.
yeah, she's got it.
So I'm going to put the butter in the pan. I didn't note this in the recipe. We're letting this melt. I'm also going to put just a spoonful of the pasta water because it helps emulsify the sauce a little bit. And it helps it from not browning unless you let it go too long. So I'm just going to put a spoonful of that butter in. And I have this kind of on medium to low heat. And we're just going to let it melt. And then I'm going to dump the thyme in here as well. And I love thyme and asparagus. So I didn't chop this thyme. I just literally picked it off the stems. And thyme is one of those very fragrant herbs, and I love it. I think thyme and asparagus go so well together. So I put some of the thyme in there, and then I'm going to put some of the asparagus in there. Even though they're cooked, they're cold. They're not cooked all the way through. I want to get them warm while the pasta cooks. So I'm going to put a little bit of the asparagus in here. And, you know, it's like whatever you want. You know, do you want a lot of asparagus in your pasta? Do you not want a lot of asparagus in your pasta? Whatever you like. You know, as I said, everything's a guideline and a method. And then I just give it a little swirl and let that butter melt slowly. And I'll show you, like, the butter isn't completely incorporated, but it's already created a sauce in there, right? Water and butter. It's like this unbelievable thing. And then I'll sprinkle a little bit of salt. You know, kosher salt is what I use to, like, in basic cooking, not to finish with. I love sea salt. Everybody has their own brand, whether it's Diamond or Morton, whatever you feel comfortable with. And I've used Morton in my house. I've used Diamond in my house. I use Diamond in the restaurant. I like the way it feels in my fingers, and it's easier to season. So that's just kind of that. If you want to add cracked pepper here, have at it. So let's add some pepper. I love fresh ground pepper. I think we're getting close here on the pasta. We'll give it a little taste. So if you ever want to check pasta just to see how far along it is, stick a spoon in it and have a taste. Yeah, we're done. We're about 30 seconds away from being done. So the timing is perfect. I have a sauce, I have warm asparagus in here, and I have pasta. So I'm going to take the pasta and I'm going to drain it in the sink, and I'll be right back. I'm using a colander. I think that's the way to go.
Looks great so far. I've got kind of a cool anecdote that I forgot to mention about the wine, if you have time.
Real quick.
Of course we do, TJ. We always love stories about wine.
Talbot, this meal looks so great. I forgot to mention that the other reason why I wanted to pick this wine was because it's been served at 3 presidential inaugural dinners.
How cool is that?
Yeah, that because it pairs so well with food, and your dish looks amazing so far. I can't wait to make it myself.
All right, so pasta's in the pan. The butter and asparagus are in the pan. I'm just going to give a quick swirl to get this incorporated, and then I will do the egg part. I mean, it smells incredible. I wish you guys were here and you could try this. All right, egg mixture. Turn the flame off. I'm going to pour this in, and I'm literally going to take it off the flame and give it a quick coat. Because the pan is still warm, right? So that's why you don't, and then literally doing this off the flame. I don't have scrambled eggs. I just have a beautiful egg and butter sauce with asparagus. Now, I'm going to add the parsley at the end because I like that color, that bright green pop right now.
Todd, you know, carbonara, it's very hard to make. I actually tried. I did another Zoom class, not Mariano's one, but Sarah Gruneberg did her carbonara recipe. And it was really hard because I literally turned my back for 1 second and I had like scrambled eggs in the bowl.
That's why we put the egg yolk on top in the restaurant, so that doesn't happen. Plus, it looks cool.
Right.
Okay. So this is done. I'm going to put it in a bowl and top it with some cheese, and then you guys can have a look and see. Is anybody cooking along, cooking the pasta?
There's so many people cooking along. It's unbelievable. I love it.
So carbonara comes from Rome, right? So in Rome, you would generally not use a lot of Parmesan, if any at all. You would use Pecorino Romano, okay? So even though I like the flavor of Parm, and nothing has to be traditional always, especially at home, I'll finish with the pecorino because I like that cheap smoked cheese. I like that sharpness. And there you go, asparagus carbonara.
Oh my God. You know what, Todd, take a photo of that and send it to me and Sarah so we can post it for everyone.
Of
But
course.
it does look amazing.
I will do that right now.
Jordan wants to know if you decide to use pancetta in the dish, when do you add that in?
So I add that in at the same time that I would add the asparagus because you want the pancetta to get hot and release a little more of its fat since it was cold. Jordan's had the carbonara.
Alessa privately messaged me, but she also took the same class that I did, and she also had a hard time, so thank you.
You're welcome. You know, like certain dishes translate to the home real well,
Right.
and others don't. Carbonara is a tough one. Oh, that came out good. I'll send it to you.
Okay, cool.
So now that I guess it's the reveal, even though I don't. Let me get a fork.
Who's Jason Young? Is he one of your friends? He asked to
Yeah,
come
Jason's
tonight.
one of
You
my
can't
friends.
repeat.
It's really good.
Wait, Todd, are you doing curbside pickup for people? Could we drive?
Absolutely. It's really good. I like the one with pancetta is great, but this is really good.
All right, we want to showcase some of the people that have made it. I'm looking, so I'm gonna, Sarah, oh wait, hold on, Barb Watson is always a winner with her cooking.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice penne pasta too.
Wow.
Barb, you're off of mute. That looks gorgeous.
I'm coming to their house.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm learning so much.
I'm coming to your house
You're
tonight.
really
This is so
rocking it.
amazing. My husband is so happy, so happy.
Oh, I'm so glad.
I love artichokes so much, and I didn't know what to do with them. They were a little intimidating, and I'm so happy to learn how to do it.
Barb, where do you live? I mean, not that we're gonna, not to disclose.
Naperville, I could
Naperville,
walk.
That's like one of my favorite Marianos. That's such a fun.
Yes, I could
Mariano.
walk to my Naperville Mariano's. I'm very close, and it's just so amazing. This is life changing.
Oh my God! Hold up your dish again. My family wants to see it. They're
I know.
standing here.
Every
So proud
day
of you.
during quarantine, I try to look for the positive, and this is such an amazing positive thing. I just love this so much.
Thank you, Barb. We love you. We're glad you're with us. This has been a fun thing for everyone. So
The wine pairings are amazing, and I love the history behind the wines. That is so cool to know about like the inauguration and everything. It makes me feel super special. It makes me feel like I participated in an inauguration.
I love that.
TJ,
TJ wanted you to write him an email so we can send that to the corporate Gallo.
And I'm gonna send you a bottle of wine too. Yeah.
TJ, the wine
Awesome. Barb, thank you. You're rocking. You're doing awesome. All right, let's see. I'm getting better at navigating around. Let me see. Jody's doing something. Are you ready? Hold on.
It's so good.
But I got
Hi,
everything else
Jody.
ready.
How's it go? Oh, wait, look at your artichokes. They're so beautiful.
Over here.
Yeah,
Thank you.
they look good.
Now, does this look thick enough for the sauce?
Oh, that's way thick. Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, good.
All right,
Thank
you're
you.
rocking. That's awesome. All right, who else?
Add a little water to that. Add a little water to that.
Todd wants you to add water.
Add a little water to it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pasta water or regular water?
Yeah, I'll do pasta.
I mean, pasta's always better.
I see your sous chef in the background there too.
What should the consistency be?
Let me see it. A little more water.
Okay.
And mix it together. It's like pudding almost. You're close.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I love how your bowl matches the artichoke color.
I know.
Uh,
Awesome. Enjoy.
And then we want to know how it tastes.
yeah, can't wait.
All right. Sarah, who else can you help me like navigate through? I don't know why I have said. What about the Tess D. Branklin group over there? Can we spotlight you guys? What's happening?
How's it going in your kitchen?
Oh wait, okay, they're off.
Yeah, we're like 8 steps ago.
So
So
we are way
we're
behind.
not sure.
We're still blanching the asparagus, but
I'm on my way.
That's all right. It's like you're like, oh, we're making the recipe from 4 weeks ago, the meatballs.
Yeah, we just we Googled an asparagus carbonara recipe because we don't know what to do after the asparagus gets blanched.
Yeah, so we blanch the asparagus, we add it to the butter mixture.
All right.
With the thyme.
Is that right?
And then when the pasta's done, you put the pasta in, you turn it off the flame, and then you add the egg and cheese mixture.
Okay, that's where we lost it. Okay, cool.
We lost it.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
All right. My husband's standing here telling us to move it along. You move it along. Great. I mean, we're
we have to go.
Producer.
Yeah, I mean, geez.
Where's he
All
have
right.
to be tonight?
Well, I mean, you're like bossing us around over here. Who else, Sarah? Anybody that you see? You can take them off. We got Jody. We got here we go. Do they know that we have them on Spotlight? Hillary Lake.
Hi, Hillary.
It's like you're on candid camera.
Hi.
How are you guys
All right.
doing? Tell us what you're doing. What's happening over there?
We are working on our sauce in a minute. I have my eggs right here.
All right.
I have eaten at Fermentos a million times. The Bucatini Carbonara is my favorite thing on the planet. So I appreciate Todd showing us his secret today.
Todd is amazing. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you. So
There's
good.
no place good here in Jacksonville Beach, Florida that has
Yeah, no.
I know that to be true.
Yeah, I bet you do. Good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you guys too.
All right. Does anyone have any other questions for Todd or TJ tonight? I mean, this was, I'm just excited to eat dinner because I can't wait to have the artichokes. I did not make the pasta, Todd, but I will do it another time for sure.
No problem.
But does anyone else have any? Oh, wait. Shout out to Todd that I made this tomato sauce from the last episode, and he'll never buy sauce in a jar again. Yay.
Way to go, Greg.
That's awesome. Lindsay's excited to eat. Me too. I'm always excited to eat. The McKeans are like regular guests. They are thanking us. Oh, and I didn't know this, but they had a family dinner at Fermentos before their daughter's wedding.
Oh, cool.
That's awesome. And they're going to try the Talbot, TJ, so don't worry.
Really good.
It's now my new house, Shardy. I love it.
Right?
If anyone's ever out in Carmel by the sea, right outside of Monterey, come stop by the tasting room. You can. My email is tj.brickley@ejgallo.com, and I'll get you set up.
Erin Thomas said she's still stuffing artichokes. It takes practice. Like I've probably stuffed 8,000 artichokes in my lifetime, if not more, just from working with my grandmother. And I one day want to be Todd's apprentice at Fermentos and learn how to make pasta and learn better techniques with artichokes. So you'll get better at it.
Absolutely.
All right. I think everyone's very thankful, Todd. Can't wait.
I'm
Thank
thankful
you,
everybody
TJ,
came.
too, Sarah, for organizing this.
Yeah, thank you to you and Sarah. Seriously. Without you
Okay,
guys.
so if anyone has any more questions, you can hit us up on Facebook or whatever, and we'll answer. At Chef Todd Stein, at Mariano's Market, at Amanda Puck. Please send pictures, post them. We love to see. We'll post them and circulate them. Carol, we love seeing you. It's so great. Nicole, I think now DLX, I don't know, that's your nickname. She can't wait to be back at Fermentos. I don't think any of us can. Your Uncle Larry says hi, Todd.
Hi, Larry.
I'm sure you can read, but I'm just, reading them off. But everyone stay safe, shelter in place, enjoy some good food and recipes, and we'll see you. Oh, tomorrow night we have actually a really fun class with Belinda Chang. It's wine with snacks. So we picked wines to pair with our caramel cheese popcorn from Mariano's, Cheetos, and pretzel crisps. So that'll be a really fun night. And then Thursday, we have a mixologist from Hendrick's Gin who's making some really cool stuff. So if you have time this week, we'll be here the next 2 nights. We have live music on Fridays and kids concerts on Saturdays. And we'll be here next week. So we're excited. So thank you, everybody.
My wife just said she wants to do that class tomorrow.
Which one? Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. It's so fun. I mean, I have all the stuff like popcorn, pretzel crisp. Yeah, Todd, you might have to go to the store like first thing in the morning.
I am going tomorrow, so it's perfect.
And there's wine pairings. And one is actually a box wine, which I think is really interesting. I don't even know how to open it. So I'll be
Seriously?
Yeah, Belinda picked Black Box Merlot to go with pretzel
yeah.
crisps.
Great.
Yeah, so, and then Oyster Bay Sauvignon Blanc for the popcorn. I could be getting this all wrong. I don't know. So Sarah, you let me know. And then the first one is Cheetos, and I forget what that wine pairing is, but we have it all online on the Eventbrite. But it's really fun. So hopefully you guys will be able to join us.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you
Sounds fun.
so much.
Thanks, Amanda.
And Cameron Grant, I know, I never like to hang up. Cameron Grant's on, I think still, hopefully, and he's doing a class in May with Belinda on cooking with wine. So he's going to call you, Todd, for tips.
Great.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Be safe.
See you soon. Thanks, Veronica.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.